Two of the most significant feelings of dread that can arise when reviewing a game are loving a title you know the vocal crowd will automatically dismiss, or disliking, even mildly, sticking to one's guns and not caving to pressure or preconceived expectations can be a stressful practice. Then again, this level of tension doesn't apply to the Konami-developed action RPG Eden Zero because, bluntly put, I haven't seen a single person even mention it. After playing the free demo a few weeks ago, I became genuinely excited for the full release as the gameplay loop and cast kinda hooked me. In my experience, mangaka Hiro Mashima consistently does a stellar job of grabbing readers right from the outset, and Eden Zero is no expectation. Plus, this game has become my introduction to the manga and anime series. And now after playing through the game, I've become a bona fide new fan despite the adventure's clumsy design elements and general lack of polish.
Oi, oi.
聞いて聞いて。
は
いや
いいぜ。
Eden Zero follows Shiki, a naive and kind-natured youth who embarks on a vast spacefaring journey after meeting the adventurer Rebecca and her robotic feline companion, Happy. And no, not Fairy Tale Happy, this is a different Happy. And after grouping together, their voyage eventually expands into a full-fledged crew searching for the transcendental being known as Mother, all while along the way Shiki tries to make new friends. And naturally from that, countless hijinks ensue, resulting in character growth and pivotal new encounters. Narratively, Eden Zero moves at a brisk pace, progressing through key arcs pretty quickly, yet for someone like me who is unfamiliar with the source material, the story never came across as incomprehensible. Even with that, I assume are considerable cuts to fit so much plot into one game. I followed along without notable issues, aside from a few minor characters and exchanges that seemed obligatory. Shiki's earnest optimism makes him an endearing centerpiece, while Rebecca shines as the comedic voice of reason, effectively acting as Shiki's straight man. The relationship between these two steals the show, dwarfing the impact of the broader cast, though the others do offer their own strengths even if they feel like one note at times. To mitigate this effect, the crew does get a little more time in the limelight via bonding episodes. Once you unlock free movement aboard the titular spaceship Eden Zero, you can view short events that hand out items and weave in more banter. These scenes revisit each character's goals or struggles naturally, giving them a little more to be fleshed out. I also appreciated that not every bonding event features Shiki, allowing for a bit more side dynamics, specifically the exchanges between Rebecca and the composed witch to flourish. Fans will likely enjoy these snippets, which seem to be of the original material. Speaking on the depth, Eden Zero has more going on under the hood than you might expect. There are two broad gameplay modes, where story mode is straightforward, comprising cutscenes interspersed with compact areas full of enemies and treasure, and then there's free roam, which turns you loose on the planet Blue Garden, which is a surprisingly large open world with quests, collectibles, and lore notes. This is where most players will spend their time, as the endless checklist of content feels rewarding despite its quantity over quality approach, thanks to practical loot and experience gains. Quests often involve battling monsters or taking photos, but character-specific jobs and special events keep the loop varied. A particularly distinctive system involves recruiting friends who, once convinced, add new facilities to the Eden Zero ship, reinforcing the addictive cycle. Navigation then fuels that loop, where in free roam Shiki can soar across Blue Garden skies with no limits, granting some intimidating freedom from the outset. Vehicles exist, though I never bothered with them, and still scouring the map for treasures, events, and fast travel points became my favorite pastime. The sheer amount of content is pretty staggering. Unfortunately, shoddy performance does undercut this thrill. On the PlayStation 5, Eden Zero usually runs stable, but when you zip through the open world, especially in the mid-fight, frame rate dips and glaring texture pop-ins rear their ugly heads. Visually, the game looks a couple of generations behind modern standards. That doesn't bother me much, yet the expressive character faces sometimes clash with the drab environments. On the plus side, every piece of equipment changes a character's appearance, with a transmog adjacent option also available. Combat forms the other core loop of gameplay. Standard combos pair with flashy ether gear attacks, and you can swap on the fly between active party members. Each character has a personal skill tree for stat boosts and new moves, while upgradable, craftable gear deepens the RPG layer. At first glance, battles do seem a little bit button-mashy, and against mob waves, they do dip into light Musu territory, but after playing for a few hours, a layer of strategy does emerge. Movement is fairly smooth, dodge cancelling out of strikes never got old, and each playable character fills a distinct niche. Shiki is your up-close attacker, which cycles elements to inflict status effects, Wise deploys turrets for passive damage, and the list goes on. My go-to plan was burning foes with Witch, swapping to Wise for turret support, then jumping to another character to keep pressure on, effectively stacking 3 damage sources all at once. Still, you shouldn't expect a masterclass with this game. Enemy variety outside bosses is thin, and the numbers go up progression never hits a sweet spot. Performing a counter, which opens up a powerful follow-up, is capable of handling foes several levels above you. Further, the low skill ceiling means new gear feels less impactful than it should. Bosses here do telegraph their attacks clearly, a point I appreciate, but you can't brute force them with healing items, and their tells are a little too readable. Eden Zero's combat ultimately scratched an itch for comforting simplicity, but there isn't enough here to really keep you on your toes. Circling back to the ship for a second, this does become another central gameplay avenue. You'll unlock facilities such as a quickfire minigame that has its own currency, as well as a cooking system. They're fine distractions, but they wrap up pretty quickly. On a positive side, even on console, you can remap controls to preset layouts, giving you a respectable degree of freedom. Anime game adaptations have come in every flavor for decades, from arena fighters that fans love to roast, to the occasional oddball that tries something new. Eden Zero leans towards the latter and leaves a noticeable, if slightly shabby mark. Ambitious exploration, flexible progression, and grand storytelling keep this adventure engaging, but lackluster visuals, limited enemy design, and uneven performance does hold it back. If you're already a fan or just a curious onlooker like I was, you'll find plenty to enjoy here. Players who are unfamiliar with or wary of clumsily handled JRPGs should tread with a bit of caution so they understand what they're signing up for. Regardless, I hope more anime games strive for this scale of action RPG ambition, provided the team behind them gets the time and budget that they need to truly shine. Noisy Pixel is giving Eden Zero a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.